The pot roast sat on my plate, untouched. Mom moved around the dining table like she always did, topping off everyone's water glasses with a careful hand. The glasses sparkled when the chandelier light hit them just right. The plates were clean and shiny, the kind we only used for special occasions. The table itself, dark wood with scratches and small dents, had been part of the family for 30 years. It had seen laughter and arguments, celebrations and disappointments. Tonight, it held yet another Sunday dinner, and everything felt the same. But before I continue, hit the subscribe button and tell me where are you watching this from? And what time of day is it? Dad looked at his watch. Caliph should be here by now, he said. His voice was calm, but there was a little worry there, a little impatience. Mom glanced at me. You know your sister, she said. She's always on her own schedule. I nodded. I didn't speak. My throat felt tight. Every Sunday since I got my promotion at work, I had come to these dinners hoping something would change. Hoping that my parents might finally notice me for who I was. Not just in comparison to Caliph, their younger daughter, who always seemed perfect. The front door opened, and the click of Caliph's heels on the hardwood floor announced her arrival. She was laughing, her hair messy from the wind outside, and she moved into the house like she owned it. Her energy filled the room, like she was glowing from the inside out. Sorry I'm late, she said, tossing her purse onto the sideboard. It almost hit Mom's crystal bowl. I froze. Then my eyes caught something hanging from her finger. A key ring with a bright blue leather tag. My key. My car key. Dad smiled. Did the interview go well? Yeah, Caliph said. She sounded casual, like nothing unusual had happened. Mom served her a generous portion of food. Of course it did. We're glad you had reliable transportation today, she said, smiling. The room tilted slightly for me. My heart raced. I set my fork down very carefully, so it made a soft clink on the plate. Did you take my car without asking me? I asked, my voice low, careful, calm. Every word counted. Caliph rolled her eyes and spun the keys in her hand. Then she tossed them on the table near her water glass. Oh, please. It just sits in your garage most days anyway, she said. That's not an answer, I said, my voice tightening. Dad frowned. Family helps family, Nixera. Caliph needed to make a good impression today. My mind flashed back to this morning. I had gone to the hook by the door to get my spare keys, the ones I always left there. They weren't there. I thought I had misplaced them, never imagining that Caliph would simply take them. You could have asked, I said, keeping my voice steady. Mom smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Honestly, darling, it's not like you were using it, she said. The word stung, but beneath the sting was something darker. A slow, burning fury that I rarely allowed myself to feel. 3 months ago, I stood in a boardroom wearing my best charcoal suit, ready to present the work of the last 18 months. 8 men sat across from me, watching every move. At first, they were skeptical, looking at me like I might fail. But slowly their expressions changed. They respected me. When the final signature was signed on the contract, $3.5 million, I knew exactly what I would do with my hard-earned commission. I bought a car. A brand new car. The dealership called it midnight blue, though in some lights it almost looked black. The leather seats smelled like possibilities. The salesman looked surprised when I paid the down payment myself, without a husband or father to approve it. It was the first thing I had ever owned that wasn't used or discounted. I had shown pictures to my friend Kaida over drinks, celebrating. Look at this, I had said, showing her the polished car. I earned it. Now Caliph was studying her nails, oblivious to what she had taken. Not just a car. It was proof. Proof that I had finally escaped the shadow of family expectations. Proof that I could work hard and get what I deserved on my own. I've been meaning to ask, Caliph said, cutting into her meat. Could I borrow it again next weekend? There's this networking event in Boulder. No, I said before I could even soften it. Mom froze mid-bite. Nixera, don't be selfish, she said. There it was. The same pattern. Caliph takes and I give. My parents always side with her. Always. You have your own car, I said. That old thing. Caliph said with a smirk. Come on, I'm trying to make connections here. Dad folded his napkin neatly. Your sister is trying to get her career started. The least you could do is help. I wanted to say my career started with student loans and 2 jobs, without any family connections or borrowed luxuries. But I kept quiet, saying that would make me sound bitter, jealous, small. By the way, Caliph added, spearing a carrot with her fork, some idiot in a parking lot scratched the passenger door. My phone buzzed in my pocket. And then again. And again. I pulled it out, breaking Mom's no phone at dinner rule. My heart stopped. 6 messages from my coworkers. All saying the same thing. Beautiful car. When did your parents buy it? I opened Instagram. And there it was. Caliph, smiling wide, posing next to my midnight blue car. Caption. Thanks Mom and Dad for the amazing gift. Blessed new car. Family support. 23 likes. 4 comments. 2 hours ago. I set the phone face up on the table, so everyone could see. The room went silent. We need to talk about boundaries, I said, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. Dad waved his hand. It's just a social media post, Nixera. Don't be so sensitive. She just wants to feel successful. Mom dabbed her mouth with her napkin. Is that so terrible? I looked at Caliph, waiting for a reaction. She shrugged. I'll delete it if it's that big a deal, she said, not meeting my eyes. But everyone already saw it. What's the point? I whispered. Her casual voice made my skin burn. Show me the scratch, I said. What? In my car. I want to see it. 2 minutes later, we were in the driveway. The scratch wasn't just a scratch. It was a long, foot-sized scrape. Red paint was stuck in the midnight blue surface. It wasn't from a parking lot. It was from a fire hydrant. You sideswiped a fire hydrant. Were you texting while driving? I asked. Calipha's eyes flicked toward the house where Mom and Dad waited. Does it matter? She said. Insurance will cover it. My insurance. My car. Back inside, I scrolled through my phone. There were more posts. 5 in total. Caliph at a restaurant valet stand. Caliph at a country club. Caliph showing off my car to friends outside a bar. I thought back to high school. Me at 17, opening a thin envelope from Stanford. A full academic scholarship. Mom glanced up from preparing Caliph's sweet 16 party. That's nice, honey. Can you hang these streamers? 2 hours later, Dad drove into the driveway with a red Volkswagen. Keys dangling. Happy birthday, princess. Caliph squealed while I taped decorations for a party I wasn't invited to join. College years were no different. I worked at the campus bookstore in the mornings and waited tables at night. Mom and Dad helped with $600 for books. Caliph cycled through 3 different universities fully funded before dropping out completely. College isn't for everyone, Mom said, patting Caliph's hand. My sweater started disappearing from my closet. Jewelry borrowed and never returned. My spare apartment key is suddenly missing. My first apartment, my first independence, and she treated it like a toy. The pattern stretched back for years, decades. Every small act adds up. I put my phone face up on the table and stood. The room fell silent. I felt taller than ever, standing over my seated family. This car, I said, my voice quieter than I expected, represents the first major purchase I made for myself. With money I earned, from a job I worked 80-hour weeks to excel at. I paid for my college. I paid for my apartment. I paid for every single thing I own. Each sentence landed slowly, like footsteps across fragile ground. I could see Mom's eyes fill with tears. Dad's jaw tightened. After the Miller contract closed, I chose this car because for once, I wanted something that wasn't secondhand. Something that represented what I had accomplished without anyone's help. Caliph kept looking at her nails, but I caught a flicker of resentment in her eyes. And you took it without asking, then lied about who bought it, I added. Mom's tears turned to indignation. After all we've done, this is how you repay us? With accusations and ingratitude. My phone buzzed again. Vela from accounting. Beautiful car in the post. When did your parents buy it? It must be nice having such generous support. Vela had stayed late every night for 18 months while I built the Miller proposal. She had brought me coffee. Celebrate with me. She had seen my effort. I remembered my boss, Sira, walking me to the parking lot the day after I bought the car. His nod approving. You earned every inch of that luxury, Phillips, he had said. Respect. Recognition. Appreciation. At home there was dismissal. Theft disguised as sharing. I grabbed my purse and slung it over my shoulder. Don't walk away from this table, young lady, Dad said, his voice still carrying authority. We're not finished discussing this, Caliph challenged. I paused at the door. 3 faces. 3 versions of the same expectation. That I would bend. Like always. No, I said, holding my keys tight. I'm going to do something much more effective. The door closed behind me. The soft click sounded like a period at the end of a very long sentence. Later that night, I paced my apartment. 8 steps back and forth, turn and repeat. The reflection in the window caught my movement. Through the glass, 12 floors below, my midnight blue sedan sat in the parking lot. The scratch on the passenger door, ugly and red, was visible even from this height. I stopped mid-stride. My hands clenched into fists at my sides. Kalith tossing my keys onto the dining table burned fresh in my mind. Her casual disregard. My parents' defense of her. The family dance I had been forced to learn my entire life. My desk stood still and organized. Awards and plaques lined the back edge. A photo of me shaking hands with the CEO after closing the Westridge account. A crystal paperweight for my 5-year anniversary. Everything in its place, neat, earned. Achievements earned through persistence, strategy, and sacrifice. Unlike that car. Unlike anything my sister had ever possessed. And yet, I had a plan. This car, my life, my success, they were mine. And this time, I would make sure everyone understood that. I stop at the window and press my fingertips against the cool glass. Outside, the car is parked in the driveway, gleaming in the morning light. I stare at it for a long moment. Slowly, a thought blooms in my mind like a flower opening in spring. Maybe I have been thinking about this all wrong. All this time, I've been trying to make my family understand my feelings and respect my rules. I've tried to explain that the scratches on my car, the comments about my things, and the way they act sometimes really bother me. But what if trying to make them understand isn't the solution? What if the solution is simpler than that? What if I just make it so they don't have the chance to bother me anymore? A small, shy smile creeps across my face. I haven't smiled like this since that terrible dinner a few nights ago. The dinner where everything felt wrong, and my family had pushed and pushed until I felt trapped and frustrated. But now I can see a way to make things right, and for once it doesn't involve yelling or crying or feeling guilty. Monday morning comes, and the office is buzzing with people. The kind of energy they have is usually exciting and fun to be around. People are saying good morning, and hello, and did you have a nice weekend, with big smiles. Normally, that would make me feel awake and happy, ready to start the week. But today, every good morning feels like it's poking me in the chest. Every smile feels a little too bright, a little too cheerful. I walk past them with my coffee in one hand and my briefcase in the other. The briefcase is heavy, but not just with papers. It is heavy with my plan. Inside it is a proposal I stayed up half the night perfecting. Vela waves at me from the break room. Nixera, that car your parents got for your sister is gorgeous. My smile freezes in place. Thanks, I say. My voice is short. My steps speed up. 2 steps later, Mark from accounting stops me. Saw your sister's post. Nice ride. Your parents must be so proud of her new job. She hasn't started yet, I say quickly, keeping my voice clipped. By the time I finally reach my office, I've heard 4 more comments about the car from other coworkers. Each comment makes a little ember of anger burn brighter in my chest. It's not the car itself. It's that people keep talking about my family's actions as if I don't exist in the situation. I slam the office door a little harder than I should, making the blinds rattle against the glass. My assistant Lorian knocks gently. You have a budget meeting with Mr. Crawford at 10. Are you okay? I straighten my shoulders and take a deep breath. Add 30 more minutes to that meeting. Tell him I have a proposal that will benefit the company. Lorian studies my face, curiosity replacing concern. Anything else? Yes. Clear my afternoon. And find out who handles our corporate vehicle fleet. Lorian nods and leaves, and I sit at my desk for a few moments. My fingers drum on the wood, but I don't feel nervous. I feel ready. This is the moment where I finally take control. At precisely 10 o'clock, I sit across from Howard Crawford, the Chief Financial Officer of Neurotech Solutions. I've spent 3 long years earning his respect through steady results, smart decisions, and careful management of the company's money. Today, I will use all of that respect to make my plan happen. I slide the folder across the desk. Before we discuss quarterly numbers, I'd like to propose a solution for our client transportation costs. He raises an eyebrow but opens the folder. Inside, I've carefully written down all the numbers. How much we spend on mileage reimbursement for sales directors, maintenance costs for company-owned cars, tax advantages of asset depreciation, and even the ways a company car can make clients feel more impressed and valued. You're suggesting we add a dedicated executive vehicle? Crawford asks, flipping through the pages. Yes, I say calmly. For client meetings and corporate events. Right now, we spend $1,245 monthly on reimbursements for our sales team alone. A dedicated vehicle could reduce that by 30%. It also gives our company consistent branding opportunities. I turn to the last page of the folder and show him a photograph of my midnight blue sedan, with a mock-up of the company logo placed subtly on the door. I know of a car that meets our specifications. Mine. Crawford leans back in his chair, a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. I wondered when you'd make a move like this, Phillips. Smart. Very smart. 2 hours later, I walked out of the legal department with the preliminary paperwork in my hand. By the end of the week, my car will officially become company property. I will get a fair price, all the tax advantages, and most importantly, my family will no longer have access to it. Looks like everything went well, Ishervon, my direct supervisor, says as he catches me in the hallway. Crawford already approved the expenditure. It makes financial sense for the company. And it gives you some distance from the family situation. My steps falter. You know about that? I saw the posts, he says. Not my business, but if this helps, you have my full support. By Wednesday, the company mechanic had removed the scratch from the passenger door. The expense is absorbed as routine maintenance. Lorien has rescheduled client meetings to accommodate the transition. And the legal department has drafted the final agreement. I stand in the underground parking garage beside Cashin Voss, the company attorney, as he reviews the documents. Insurance transfer is effective immediately, he says, checking each item off his list. Corporate plates will arrive next week. The reserved parking space is ready. Sure enough, a sign now reads, reserved for client relations. My midnight blue sedan sits beneath it, freshly washed and detailed. A small magnetic company logo is now on both front doors. You're sure about this? Cashin asks, handing me the final paper to sign. Once it's company property, you can't just take it back. I take a deep breath and pick up the pen. I'm sure. The pen feels solid in my hand as I sign my name with a decisive flourish. For the first time in a long while, I feel completely in control. That evening, Kaidao arrives at my apartment with a bottle of wine and takeout containers from our favorite Italian restaurant. To corporate assets, she says, raising her glass after I explain everything. To problems solved, I answer, clinking my glass against hers. What will you tell them? She asks as she serves the pasta. I twirl the spaghetti around my fork, thinking. The truth, I say finally. I no longer own the car. And when they realize what you've done, she asks, a small smile on her face. The anger I had felt for days now settles into a calm, cool feeling. Then they'll learn what happens when they mistake my generosity for weakness, I say. From my apartment window, I can see the roof of the sedan in the building's lot below. It's no longer mine, yet it feels safer and more secure than ever before. Sometimes protecting something you care about requires making a little sacrifice, but this time, I'm not the only one paying the price. On Sunday of that week, the late afternoon sun casts long shadows across my parents' driveway as I pull in with my old crossover SUV. The vehicle feels familiar and comforting after 2 weeks of not driving it. The worn leather seat molds to my body like an old friend. I pause before cutting the engine, savoring the moment. Anticipation buzzes inside me like tiny fireflies. When I open the front door, 3 heads swivel in unison. Kalith stands in the entryway. Her expression shifts from boredom to confusion. Where's the blue car? She asks, her voice higher than usual. My parents exchange quick glances. Mother touches her pearl necklace, a nervous habit she's had since I was small. Father's jaw tightens just a little. I drove my old car today, I say, hanging my jacket in the closet. The smell of pot roast fills the house, the same Sunday dinner we've had for years. I take my usual seat at the table, and a strange calm washes over me. For the first time in years, I feel completely in control at this table. Mother serves dinner with mechanical precision. Her smile is tight around the edges. No one speaks until Father clears his throat. We've been thinking about your situation, dear, Mother begins. Father sets down his fork, his voice dropping into the serious tone he always uses when he wants his word to be final. Kalith needs reliable transportation for her job search, he adds. The economy is hard right now, Kalith says softly. Every impression counts. I continue eating quietly, surprising myself with how much I enjoy the meal. The roast is perfect tonight, tender and flavorful. Mother has always known how to cook a good meal. When the plates are cleared and dessert is served, apple pie with vanilla ice cream, they are still waiting for my answer. The silence stretches across the table like a heavy blanket. Father shifts in his chair. Mother refills water glasses that don't need refilling. Kalith's foot taps nervously under the table. I take another bite of pie, letting the sweetness linger. For the first time all evening, I smile genuinely. That won't be possible, I say finally. Mother sets down the water pitcher. What do you mean? I dab my mouth with my napkin. I don't own that car anymore. Mother's hand flies to her mouth. You sold your new car already? Another impulsive decision. Father's voice rises. You can't just do that. I shake my head once calmly. I transferred it to my company. It is a corporate asset now. I use it exclusively for work and client meetings. Caleth grabs the papers from my purse, scanning them in disbelief. This isn't fair. You did this on purpose. Yes, I admit, feeling lighter than ever. I did. Mother asks, can they just take your car? They didn't take it, I explained. It's a company car now. The company pays for insurance, maintenance, and even the scratch repair. I only use it for work. Father's face turns red. You've always been difficult, but this is beyond. Beyond what? I ask softly. Beyond protecting something I worked hard for? Beyond making sure it is respected? The silence after that feels different. For once, I am not waiting for approval. I am not waiting for anyone's disappointment. I am simply present, comfortable, sure of my decision. I close the folder with a soft finality that speaks louder than any words. Father's face is red like a summer sunset. The paperwork I placed on the dining table might as well be written in ancient Sanskrit for all the comprehension flickering in his eyes. He opens his mouth, then closes it and tries again. You can't just. His voice trails off and he stops. He doesn't know what to say, and I can see it on his face. The room is quiet except for the ticking of the old grandfather clock in the hallway. This feels strange, almost like being in a dream that doesn't make sense. Mom reaches across the table. Her nails are shiny, long, and painted pink, stopping just before touching my hand. Nixera, she says, her voice soft and serious. After everything we did for you, your dad worked so hard for years to help pay for your college. He worked long hours, and we sacrificed so much. I almost laugh. That's not true. Not really. $600 a semester is nothing. That barely pays for books and a little food, let alone college. Mom, that's all you gave. I have the bank papers to prove it, I say calmly. Well, we would have given more if we could have, she insists, her voice trying to sound sad. She wants me to feel sorry for her, like I always did when I was little. But now, that sad voice doesn't scare me or make me apologize. Caleth slams her chair back with a loud bang. The sound shakes the crystal glasses on the table. You've always been selfish, always keeping track of what you gave, always holding on to things, she says angrily. Do you want me to start counting now? I sit up a little straighter. My voice stays calm, steady. Okay, I say. Let's start counting. The books I bought for you for 3 whole semesters before you left business school. The rent I paid when you had no job last year. The deposit for your apartment that you never paid back. The room is completely quiet now. Only the clock ticks in the hallway, and I can hear my own heartbeat. You had chances I never got, Caleth finally says. But her voice isn't strong. It's weak, unsure. 5 jobs in 2 years, Caleth. I counted, not to hold it against you, but because I hoped one of them would work. I turned to you, Mom and Dad, and you let every failure happen. Every time you quit because the boss was mean or the hours were too long, you were comforted instead of being encouraged to keep trying. Mom's lips press together into a thin line. She doesn't say anything. Not everyone is like you, Nixera, she says finally. No, Mom. Not everyone is like me. But everyone deserves a chance to grow, to build themselves up. You never gave her that chance, I say. Dad jumps in. This isn't about Caleth's jobs. It's about patterns. Patterns I see. Patterns where I work hard and Caleth takes. Patterns where my successes become the family's, and my struggles stay mine. I stand up. My legs feel steady, and my heart, though full of feelings, feels calm. I feel clear. This car, I say, pointing at the shiny blue sedan parked outside, was mine. I earned it after years of work. 18 months preparing for that big contract. Nights and weekends spent working. 3 other companies are trying to beat me. All of that work went into this car. I tapped the company papers lying on the table. Now this car belongs to my company. It's for work only. The company logo will go on it next week, and it already has company insurance. I look at Caleth. Even if I wanted to let you drive it now, I can't. It's not mine to lend. Dad's face darkens as he realizes this is final. He opens his mouth, but can't find words. If you treat family this way, maybe you should think about your place in the family's future, he warns. I shrug. Are you threatening to take me out of the will? I ask, more curious than scared. Mom speaks in her calm, therapist-like voice. Maybe you care too much about things. Maybe you should see someone to talk about that. Kalitha's eyes fill with tears. I can't tell if they are real or fake. You've betrayed all of us after everything we did for you, she says. I smile a little and say, I've already received my inheritance. You taught me to work hard, to keep going when things get difficult, to stand on my own. That lesson is worth more than anything in your will. Dad flinches as if I slapped him. For the first time in my adult life, I see him unsure. I gather my purse and car keys. I don't hurry. I move slowly, deliberately. No anger drives me now, just clarity. I love you all, I say. I really mean it. But love has boundaries. Love respects. Love doesn't take without asking. So that's it? You're just walking away? Kalith demands. I get into my old SUV. I drive toward my own life. You can be in it, but only if you respect my rules, I say as I buckle my seatbelt. Mom tries to speak, but Dad stops her with his hand. Something in his face has changed, though I don't mistake it for understanding. Love doesn't take, it respects, I say again as I walk out the door. The engine rumbles to life. I pull away from the curb and glance at them in the window. 3 figures frozen in place, suddenly unsure of what to do. For the first time in 32 years, I'm writing my own story. Morning sunlight catches the edge of my new executive nameplate as I arrange a framed photo on my desk. 6 months have passed since that dinner. My life has rearranged itself because I finally learned to say the word, no. Through my office window, I see the midnight blue sedan in the company parking lot. Now it has our company logo and is part of our spring advertisement. The scratch that was once on the door is gone, erased like old habits. Still admiring your work? My assistant asks, poking her head in. She points to the bulletin board with my promotion announcement. Yes, I nod. The reports are ready whenever you are. I touch the silver frame holding a photo of me with the car and clients after a big deal. I think about how far I've come, how much work I've done. Later, I meet my friend Kaida for coffee. Steam rises from the mugs. She stirs her latte carefully, not wanting to ruin the faux art. So your mom texted again, she asks. Yeah, I say, sipping my latte. But no guilt trips this time. Baby steps. And your dad? Mostly quiet. But he signed the Christmas card himself instead of letting mom do it. Progress, I guess. Kaida squeezes my hand. Small victories, she says. Jenna told me Kalith finally kept a job past the 90-day mark. I can say it without feeling bitter. Some texts start up downtown. Good for her, Kaida says, watching my face for signs of old hurt. I shrug. Mom asked if we could have dinner, just the 2 of us. I'm thinking about it. I consider whether I want that connection on my terms. That evening, friends come to my apartment. The air is warm and filled with laughter. Crystal glasses clink. Everything on the table is mine, bought with my work and my choices. No heirlooms. No history attached. Just mine. To the new product line. Vela raises her glass. And to Nixera, who convinced that dinosaur of a CFO to invest. The conversation flows easily. No tension. When someone asks about family, I answer honestly. We are finding new ways to connect on my terms. The following Tuesday, Sarah stands in my doorway, looking worried. They say I don't have enough experience for the Portland meeting, she says. I motion for her to come inside. Close the door. But I developed the entire proposal, she says, voice strained. Your achievements are yours, I tell her. I remember every time someone stole credit from me. I will never apologize for that. She leaves. I sit down at my desk and draft a memo for the entire company about recognizing everyone's hard work. My fingers tap against the keys, building something that matters. The sunset paints the Denver skyline orange and gold as I drive the company car to the Westfield meeting. I catch glimpses of my old self in the rearview mirror. Hunched shoulders, careful words, always yielding. The steering wheel feels strong beneath my hands. The leather seats still smell new, even after countless meetings. The passenger door gleams in the fading light. I slow at a red light, watching people cross the street. A woman my age laughs into her phone. An older man carries a briefcase. 2 teenagers share earbuds. They have no idea how life can change in an instant. I realize now that success isn't what you own. Success is owning your boundaries. Some prices are too high, even for family. But some lessons are worth every penny. I drive home thinking about how much has changed. My apartment feels like my own little world. My shelves are filled with books I've chosen. My walls hold pictures of places I've been, people I care about, and moments I've earned. Not a single thing has come from someone else's hand, except love that respects me. The next morning, I wake up early. I make coffee, watching the sunlight spill across the kitchen floor. My cat jumps onto the counter and nuzzles my hand. I smile. Life feels steady, safe, and mine. I think about the dinner with Mom and Dad. I don't feel angry anymore. I feel strong. I feel ready. I know I can love my family, but I will not let them take what I earned.